Welcome to the Gigging Success Podcast. And now here's your host, Brad Lazarus.
Hello and welcome to the Gigging Success Podcast, where you'll discover the tactics and strategies of some of the world's most successful cover bands that'll help you fast track your way to more of those better paid gigs you deserve. Thank you for joining me on this particular episode. Really appreciate your company. Thank you for taking the time. Always try and be as valuable to you as possible with these interviews and the co-presents that I've been doing with Graham as well. So I hope you are enjoying them. Thank you for all your emails and encouragement. It really means a lot to me, so thank you. On this particular episode, I am talking to Adam Levitt of the All Covered Up Party Band. Now, full disclosure here, I was working with Adam at the beginning of 2014, doing a bit of mentoring for him, and he's since gone on to do some fantastic things, which he'll talk about as well in the interview, which is coming up in a moment. So just to give you a little brief taster of what we'll talk about, he'll talk about how he kind of modeled his strategy on a band that he admired. We'll go through a full breakdown of the band's promo material and the budget which it took to create the video, the audio, the photography side of things as well. What else did we talk about? How he outsourced much of the work that he needed to get set up, which was a great thing to do, freed up his time. What he would do if he started again. The great thing about what Adam's done is he set himself a goal for the first year, and he smashed that goal, which was fantastic. So some really good stuff that he comes up with as well. So now, if this is your first time on the podcast, please do go back and check previous podcasts. You can go and find them at giggingsuccess.com, or you can go to iTunes. Go to the iTunes store and search for Gigging Success. Then you'll be able to subscribe to the podcast itself, and it will get downloaded as soon as the new podcasts come up as well. So enough of me, and let's get straight on to the interview with Adam. Okay, so I'm here today on the podcast with a very special guest, Adam Levitt, who is the drummer and band leader of what is a pretty straight up party band, cover band called All Covered Up. So here he is. Adam, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. I'm well. We've been busy lately with the.
Good. Well, look, you've come to the end of a working day, so thank you for giving me your time at the end of the long. What do you do daytime wise? Tell us a little bit about where you're at now and how you got to the point with the band.
Well, I'm currently my full-time job is in furniture.
Right.
So I like to sell furniture and I enjoy it, and that's in the week. So that's my 9 to 5, and then in the evenings I work on the band. Not every evening, but I try to get a couple of hours in where I can. So.
Okay, and where did you start performing? To give us a little bit of background for you.
We started performing last year from about March, April time. So it took me a while to get all the marketing together. That took that process from getting marketing together to actually getting our first gigs or weddings took about 4 to 6 months.
I should kind of say at this point, shouldn't I, that full disclosure here, that I was mentoring Adam for a good few months. When was that, Adam? Right at the beginning of 2014, wasn't it?
That's right. And I was getting the website together. I had 1 or 2 gigs at pubs and clubs, but nothing too exciting. And so I was pretty much from scratch.
And so tell us, like, as you decided to kind of ramp up the band and move it out of the pubs and clubs, so to speak, or at least kind of play there, but also start to move into that private and corporate event market. Tell us a little bit, what were the steps that you took to go from in that transition?
Well, I looked on Google and I saw what everyone else was doing, or what I thought my competition were doing. And for instance, everyone had a video and I didn't have one. Everyone had quality recordings. I didn't have any. Everyone had quality photos. I didn't have any. So it was a case of I knew I had to get to a certain point with my marketing and put some kind of website together before we could really promote ourselves to the agencies or to anyone. So I literally started from scratch, from meeting the musicians in the band.
So you didn't have, even when you started at the beginning of 2014, pretty much you didn't even have a band round you. Is that right?
Well, we were rehearsing, so that took a few months to get a good set list together that we were happy with. So it was a case of rehearsing. In early 2014, it was a lot of rehearsing and a lot of me on the side putting a website together and obviously doing the video recordings, the audio recordings, and the photo shoots.
Right, and talk us through that. How did you go about getting all that done? Where did you go? What did you do?
Well, I found a couple of nice places in London, particularly for the... Am I allowed to mention names?
Of course you can. Well, it's not the BBC. Yeah, it's fine.
I found a nice little place. They were offering a discount for new bands, whether that be indie bands, rock bands, cover bands like us. They were doing a discount rate. It's the Resident Studios in Willesden, North London, and I highly recommend them. So we did a 2-day recording, and I found a band online called the White Keys, and I thought that's what I want to be eventually. The White Keys, they're fantastic. They're one of the top bands in the UK. And I phoned the guy up. I phoned the manager up. I said, "Where did you record? I hope you don't mind me asking, but where did you record your footage, video footage and tracks?" And he said, "The studio." So we went there, and I got the same producer as them to do our recordings over a weekend. And then from there, a couple of weeks later, we recorded the video at the same place at Resident.
Can I ask you what that cost you?
Yeah, for 2 full days, and we need, as an 8-piece band, we needed 2 full days. It was £1,000, just over £1,000, and the video was about 300. Again, I got some kind of discount rate, which was good, and it allowed us to put 6 tracks down. To record those over a weekend, and also to mime a video over those tracks a couple of weeks later. So all in all, about £1,300. Yeah.
Okay, and you were funding all of that yourself, were you?
Yeah. So and I funded it all myself, and I had the job, so that helped. As well as the photos as well.
So where did you get the photos
done?
Got
the photos done at our rehearsal studio. It's a bit of a dingy old studio in Camden, but it's got atmosphere. It's called Scar Studios. So we decided to do it there. And it's almost like an attic feel, which was cool. We thought it was quite cool. And again, I must have paid about £150 for the photos.
Okay, so you were all in for about £1,500, weren't you, by the end of it?
Yeah.
And that got you up and running with all your promo material. Were you happy with the way that turned out in the end?
Yeah, I mean, the photos could have been better, but no, I mean, absolutely, we were chuffed with the audio recordings and the video. The only thing I would have done differently is actually organise people to be in the video, so dancing or whatever. So it's a video of us, the band, but there's no one there dancing to us, which would have helped. But in later months, I did another couple of videos at some of one of our gigs. So
right, and I remember early on as well, you were kind of having to do a lot of juggling with the musicians in the band, because you pretty much operate as a band leader, and then you contract your band members in around you, don't you?
Yeah.
As opposed to you being all one gang that kind of started this band up together.
I kind of, well, I've had my disagreements over the last year and a half, but everyone sees me as I'm doing all the work, and I just feel that's the best. You need one person leading it, in my view. Because you can say, I do give people jobs to do in terms of songs, learning songs, and I ask for their ideas. But in terms of actually from one pot. All the marketing all came from me. I think.
Right. So everybody very much knows. So the jobs that you are dishing out are pretty much ones which are just music based.
Yeah.
You're doing all the marketing yourself, are you?
Yeah, I'm doing the running of the website, all the bookings, and liaising with the client up until the day and on the day as well itself. But no, I mean, I'd be silly not to use the musicians in the band because they're they're actually far talented than I. I'm a good drummer, but they are fantastic, our musicians, and I'd be mad not to use their talent and their ideas. So
yeah, of course, absolutely. Okay, cool. So, all right, so you got the band up and running, and you're now doing your marketing. What are you doing? What's your first thing that you set about?
Well,
getting on with?
As I said, getting that website up and running, that was important, and getting all our promo material to the agencies. So it was the agencies that I thought, they were the most obvious starting point for me.
Can I just jump back to the website bit? What did you do? Because you've already spent £1,500 now, haven't you, with all your promo material? How did you approach the website?
Oh, it cost me. It cost me a lot of money, actually. I mean, from getting the, and I'm still changing things all the time on it. But from the, you have to get a certain. Oh, remind me what the name is. I can't think of it.
What's that?
Like a theme.
A theme, right?
So
So what did you do? You decided to go the WordPress route. So you had a WordPress website and you got a theme, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I outsourced a bit of the website design, and we decided to go for a particular theme. But since then, I've changed the theme once already, and that kind of happens because you see other things out there. You think, oh, that would look good, and I'm in the process of doing that again now. So,
so if you had to do that again, what would you do differently? How would you do it better, do you think?
I'd definitely research themes a bit more because there's they look good on the surface, but there's different kind of technicalities to it. One of the things being whether it's responsive or not. So I'm not the most technical person in the world, and you need to have it responsive, as in it needs to show up on a mobile, correct?
Yeah.
So that I didn't have any. I was very naive going into that, and to be honest, with the technical side of things, I am pretty naive with that kind of thing. So I'm now at the moment I'm working with someone who's helping me with that. So yeah, I definitely research the themes more.
Okay, so then you got your website. You set yourself some goals, didn't you, initially?
I did.
Do you remember what? Because I remember we had a few discussions about that, didn't we? Yeah. Do you remember what they were?
Yeah, I think it was like to get. I think it was 20 bookings. I mean, we started talking.
You started with 0, didn't you?
Well, I started with 0 wedding. I wanted to position this as a quality wedding band. Corporate band. So no, I had nothing when I discovered yourself. So we were playing in pubs, O'Neill's in Clapham, and then another pub in Camden, another few pubs in Camden. So yeah, I pretty was from scratch. So,
and how did you feel that the fact that you had the goal in place? How do you feel as though that helped you?
Well, it always does. It puts you on a platform, and it gives you direction as well. So, and like anything in life, if you're writing something down and you have a plan to work towards, it's easier to not get stressed, and because if you're doing too many things, that can confuse things, and if you just got one path to follow, it's easier in the head, kind of thing. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, I entirely agree. So you had these 20 bookings that you wanted to get over what period of time was it?
Well, I think it was when we first started talking. So I think it was from about March time until the end of the year. So between March and December 2014 to have 20 bookings in the diary. So whether that be for the following year or not, but just 20 solid bookings.
And how, out of interest, how did you get there in the end?
I think we ended up with 23.
Right. So you got you hit 3 more than your goal.
Yeah. So we smashed our goal, which was pleasing, and it was incredible what we actually did between March and December of 2014.
Well, go on, tell us. What do you think were the 2 or 3 kind of key things that you did that helped you achieve that goal?
Well, the first one being we got ourselves into Park Plaza Hotel on Westminster Bridge.
Right, Westminster Bridge is Park Plaza is a hotel, a very nice hotel in central London, right?
Yeah. And it's the Primo bar upstairs, and so I walked in there. I must have walked in there on a Saturday morning and got to speak with the artistic manager there of the bar. And after a bit of persuasion, he said, "We'd love to have you playing in the bar," and that allowed people to come and see us. So that was helpful. Even if it was just friends that night, we played there on every couple of weeks. So that was really good, and they didn't pay us as much as we'd like, but again, it was exposure, and we could put that on the website, and it looked good. So that was pleasing.
Okay, so you've got that, and you can get potential clients, prospective clients down to see you. How were you actually generating the leads then? How are you bringing in the inquiries?
Well, agencies was the main source. And to be honest, I mean, we're only, where are we? We're in June now. We still rely fairly heavily on agencies. I'd still say they were about 50-60% of our bookings.
Right, and when you say you got the agencies, tell us what you did, because I know this is a big pain point for a lot of listeners, is that they are finding that the agencies can often not be responsive, or when they are responsive, they're responsive once and then they never hear from them again. How were you able to build those relationships?
Yeah, well, I'd say it's a numbers game, because some agencies, they have a lot of bands on there, they all do, and we are just, well, at the time, we were just another party band to them. So some would say, they actually bluntly said, yeah, we've got a lot of bands like you, so no thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. But then a couple of agencies gave us a chance. So that was good. So we rely at the moment, we rely on about 2 to 3 agencies who pull us in several gigs.
Yeah, I think you're kind of being a bit modest there, aren't you? Because you did work. You spent time to develop those particular relationships, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I mean, it is.
And you worked hard at that.
Yeah, and I expected not every agency to suddenly say yes, join us, but no. With the ones that were interested, I did. I met up with them in a couple in London. They're London-based agencies, and just met them for a drink. Put a face to a name, which helped, and just tried to create that relationship, and they could see my enthusiasm, but I found that you can be as loyal as you like to some agencies, but at the end of the day, they've got to have the leads for you as well, and they're still trying to make their money as well. So, but generally, I have a good relationship with the agencies.
I mean, I think what was always interesting about you was, when we initially discussed the different kind of strategies that you could take to generate leads. In many respects for you, I think it felt like kind of pushing a square peg in a round hole for some of them, wasn't it? It was like things like pay-per-click advertising, SEO. They didn't really kind of sit well with you and your personality. And I think when you found the opportunity to go and maybe network with agents and also in-house at venues you've had success with, that was kind of like, that was your flow really, wasn't it? Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that comes naturally to me. Whereas, for example, the EPC marketing online does not. So that's quite technical. It's not really my thing, cup of tea. But even saying that, I'm heavily involved in the SEO at the moment and working with someone who is helping me with that. So I'm outsourcing that because I still believe that I do want to benefit from the SEO. I've left the AdWords to the side for the minute. That's not to say I won't pick that up in the future, but yeah, the SEO, I'm still trying to make that work.
Okay, and tell us, how did you get in? Because again, you've got in with a number of different venues in London, haven't you? How did you do that? Because I think the way that you did that applies to anybody that is trying to get referrals from venues all around the world. So talk us through how your strategy there.
What for the Park Plaza, you mean?
Well, no, not necessarily for the Park Plaza. You've gone in, haven't you, and gone and had a conversation with some venue coordinators in like some of the London hotels and stuff.
Yeah, and it's just, as I said, it's that kind of putting a face to a name. You know, I would highly recommend either phoning or actually going in there if you can. London's quite good because, you know, there's lots of hotels in one small area.
So what did you do? Did you pick a group of like 20 hotels on a list and then just start calling the venue coordinators, or what did you do?
Well, I went in there on a weekend and you know, asked to see the manager. And in the Park Plaza, in that case, it worked. And in other cases, it didn't. There's a famous the Dover Street Cafe opposite the Ritz. And I went in there and I never heard back from them. And I tried, but I just didn't hear back. But the Park Plaza, you know, one was better than nothing. And as I said, it allowed on a Saturday night people to come down and see us and book us from there. So you know, I didn't need 2 or 3. I just needed 1. So the Park Plaza gave us a chance, and then we ended up playing their New Year's ball for their guests.
Ah, right, very good. So, okay. Excellent. Oh, okay. So let's just kind of go back to, okay, so you've now got some leads coming in from prospective brides, grooms and agents, corporate event planners. What is the process that because you're quite meticulous about that, aren't you? You're quite meticulous about the process that goes on from the point that inquiry comes in. So tell us what that process is. In
terms of a direct inquiry to the website.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where I like those inquiries because I have the control essentially. You know, with the agencies, there's lots of toing and froing with the emails, and you know they're sorting it out. But I like to obviously be in control. Plus, you can make more money with direct bookings, so you don't have to pay their fee, the agency fee. So I'll give them a call if I get an inquiry through the website, and just obviously thank them for inquiring about us, about the band, and all I do is then ask questions and trying to get as much information about their wedding as possible. So in order to kind of gain a picture of what they're after, but also so they can see that we would hopefully be a good fit for them. So I would ask, for example, so what lineup are you looking at? You know, are you looking for some brass instruments in there? And they might say, yes, I'm looking for the 6-piece. I said, okay, we can do that. And you know, I just ask questions. That's what I found to work.
Right. Okay. So you've asked some of those questions now. Then what are you doing? Are you sending how are you sending? Are you just giving them the quote over the phone, or are you sending an email? What are you?
Well, I used to send the email, the quote via email, and that would be the most obvious thing to do. However, actually, I was reading some of your course. And one point I'm still doing today, to this day, is sending the quote out in the post in a gold envelope and addressed as said to the couple, and it really makes you stand out by sending a quote in the post, because you know who does that? Not many people. To actually go and get a first class stamp, to go and put it in an envelope. People, you know, it's the easy thing to do is just to email it. So I found that I have a much better booking rate, by sending quotes out in the post.
Right. Okay. So you've sent the quote out in the post, and then what? You're following that up, or are they giving you a call?
I'm following up. So I've got all the details. Yeah. I've got a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet with like a quote log. So I put, you know, name, date of their event, wedding, company event, whatever it might be, right. And it's like a manual CRM system. So I'll type in the details and note when I called them on the 1st of June, for example, and then I'll put to call back on the 14th of June, just to keep the regular contact going.
Right. Okay. So CRM meaning customer relationship management. So as soon as you're logging all the leads that are coming in, you're following them up, and then you are putting a note in to follow them up at a later date.
So
where you've got all the details of your previous correspondence, right?
Yeah. I found the Excel spreadsheets to work wonders. Just every contact, everyone you meet, I would advise just sticking it into a spreadsheet. Whether that's venue managers, other wedding suppliers, so you've got everyone there, as well as all full bookings. So yeah, I've tried to be as organised as possible, which has helped.
Fantastic. No, that's great. And what else? I mean, is there anything else that you feel as though has really helped you achieve the goal from last year? I should say, are you on course to achieve your goals for this year?
Yeah, I mean, my goal for this year was to bring in, I wanted 30 for the year, and we're well on course to achieve that. So we're now in June, and we've already done 20 weddings and a couple of corporate events. So yeah, maybe I need to set my goals slightly higher, but as I said, it's definitely good to set your goals, because it makes you feel good as well. It makes you feel like you've achieved something. Otherwise, what are you working towards,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're absolutely right to be setting those. I think that's it's a real kind of driver. I think the great thing about goals is if it's a realistic goal, it almost kind of pulls you towards it, doesn't it? As opposed to kind of feeling like you're kind of like drudging along, not really making much progress.
That's it.
That's great. Sorry, I kind of asked two questions there in one. So what was anything else that you feel as though has made a difference for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, I ask for referrals now. So, eventually, one day, my dream, if you like, is to actually get my bookings through referrals, and not have to market. I think that's everybody's goal is not to have to put much money into marketing, and have like a system whereby people are recommending you the band.
So what is the system? Because I know you got one.
Yes. So yeah, it's a bit like the follow up. I think the post is so important, because it's such an old fashioned and underused thing, because no one really sends posts to people anymore. So I follow up now my clients with a thank you letter. So after the gig, on the Monday, I'll put a little letter together, or a template that I have on my computer, and just again, this is dear Peter and Katie, whoever the couple's names are. Thank you so much for having us on Saturday night. We really enjoyed it, and we loved performing for you and your guests. And then I'll put a bit more. What else do I put in that letter? I can't remember, but I'll send that out in the post, and then I'll follow up with a phone call a week later and just say, "Oh, did you receive the thank you letter? Just wanted to follow up with you to say thank you." And they're like, "Yeah, we received it, and thanks so much. We didn't think you would do something like that." And then I asked, who else do you know? Do you have any other friends at work getting married?
Right. So you've sent them the letter, the thank you. Then you've followed up to check they've received it, and then you're actually outright asking for the referral, right?
You've got to.
Good. Yeah, I'd agree entirely.
But you've got to be specific, because most people, 9 times out of 10, what I've found is that they'll say, "Oh, okay, sure." You'll say, "Oh, do you know anyone else who's getting married who might require our services? You might like the band." They'll go, "Oh, yeah, I know lots of people. I'll come back to you," and they never do. I kind of be very specific. So I try and find out if they are a member of a golf club, for example, and if they play golf with 3 of the same people every week or every weekend. I'll say, right, I don't know, if there's 3 people playing golf, could you ask those 3 people if they know anyone getting married? And you're much more likely, I think, to get referrals from that, rather than
just being broad
Yeah.
and you're almost kind of narrowing their frame of reference, aren't you?
Yeah, it's important. So I just try and find out what their hobbies are. I just what are you doing the weekend? Is it tennis or whatever it might be? Because most people, everyone can say, oh, well, yeah, I know loads of people. Yeah, sure, I'll get back to you with friends who are getting married, and then you get forgotten about. But if you give them something specific to focus on, then they will end up doing that. But 9 times out of 10, next time they play golf with those 3 people, they go, oh, do you know anyone?
Absolutely. I think you've got that bang on, because they need to know, you need to really narrow that frame of reference down so that when they do see those people that you've mentioned, they're actually thinking about you and your band.
Exactly. And even if it's 1 or 2 leads that come from that, that's 1 or 2 that I didn't have. So, that's better than nothing in my view. And, I really am keen on I've got a good book. Am I allowed to mention the book?
We're not the BBC, I've told you. Just mention the book.
Okay. I wonder what's legal and what's not now.
There's plenty of things that aren't legal, but telling us what the book is called, I think we're going to be all right with. Go on,
The book I found, and it's for anyone in sales or trying to promote their business. It's called Endless Referrals, and it's by a chap called Bob Berg, and that's Bob B-U-R-G, Bob Berg. I'm actually holding it up now in front.
Right.
And it's
that's useful because no one can see it. Don't worry, I'll put a on the website, on the show notes on the website. I'll put a link to Amazon on that one for you. Yeah. So you got the strategies from that. Basically, I think the bottom line there really is that to me, the real power in referrals is firstly asking for them. Most people don't ask for them. They think they're going to happen, but the reality of it is they don't just happen. They may happen occasionally, but the bottom line is you have to ask for them. And then the way you ask for them, in terms of narrowing down the frame of reference in the way that you've, so brilliantly done, is the real kind of key to making it actually work, I think.
I agree. And what this guy is saying in the book, he's saying that people are just getting on with their lives. It's quite a pessimistic way of looking at it, but he says everyone's selfish. So they're just getting on with their lives. They're not interested in you. We're the band. We've played at their wedding. And to be honest, if they never hear from me again, they don't care. They're getting married. They're having babies now.
I was going to say their next thought is that it's all about babies.
Exactly.
At that point, isn't it?
Yeah, but it did work. And I phoned up one of our previous clients, and within 2 days, he actually said, "Oh yes, my friend's getting married," and I booked that friend booked.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, another thing that we used to do, which works very well, is send them a first anniversary congratulations card.
Yeah, I did.
And then you've got a whole, because they're still, if their peer group is still getting married.
Yeah.
So very good. Listen, Adam, we're coming up to time. Thank you so much. There's some real kind of actionable gems in there. So thanks for being so kind of open and generous with that info. It's hopefully the listeners can go off and actually use some of that. I mean, there's good 2, 3, 4 things in there that you can use tomorrow, and they're not going to cost you any money, are they? So, which is brilliant. So, listen, good luck with everything. Where can, if anybody wants to go and check out the website, where can they go?
Yeah, well, if you visit www.allcoveredupmusic, and that's all one word, allcoveredupmusic.co.uk. Check us out. We've got all the videos on there.
And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, where can they go?
Sure. Well, you can email me. At our email address is allcoveredup@live.co.uk.
Great. And there's also a contact form, obviously, on the website as well. But okay, good stuff, Adam. Thanks so much. I'll let you enjoy your evening after a long day. Thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll catch up again in the next kind of 18 months or so. See how you've doubled that goal in the time. I'm sure.
Hope so.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Brad. Bye.
So there it is, my interview with Adam Levitt. I hope you got a lot of value from that. Really gone some to reach his goal and smash that goal as well, which is great. So thank you for joining me on this particular podcast. Again, if your first time here and you want to go and discover more interviews like that, head on over to giggingsuccess.com and you'll be able to either listen on the website or you can go to iTunes, the iTunes store, search for Gigging Success, and you'll find the podcast where you subscribe, so you can subscribe, and every new episode will be downloaded automatically for you. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.